What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to this week's show of the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by Adam Carlson.
Hey, yo.
And Kyle West is down there supporting the pyramid at the bottom. What's up, dude?
Hey, ready to talk Vikings football.
Yeah, sure there will be a lot of therapy going on today. This is episode 410. I called it Fourth and Inches because last night's game was draining, to say the least. But
yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we will talk about that game in its entirety, and then we'll preview the Falcons game coming up this Sunday. Yeah, if you guys missed it last night, I think it was the game of the week. Maybe the next two games tonight and tomorrow. There is football on Tuesday tomorrow, by the way.
There is.
Maybe this will be the game of the week. The Vikings lost by 1 point last night in Seattle to the Seahawks. Just going around and doing this thing that we're trying out now. We'll go ahead and talk about the game in a minute little capsule, and I'll lead it off. I was so mad last night. I'm not kidding you. I literally lost sleep. I was furious and typical angry. Probably call me a fair weather fan at the moment that it happened. That's fine. But I was thinking, what is this coaching staff thinking? You know, the quarterback sucks. This, and this. But as I calmed down today, and I realized the game in its entirety is what the Vikings do. It's super frustrating. But there's a lot of positives from last night's game, and I'm going to try to stay mellow and just focus on what positives did we see last night. Because let's face it, this team's not at full strength right now, but they put up a damn good fight last night. What do you guys say?
Well, before the game was played on last week's show, I think we all said that none of us expected Minnesota to win this game.
Correct.
Seattle's such a good team. They got such a dynamic offense that it's just impossible so far this year to beat Seattle. And Minnesota has had such a bad track record of heading out to the West Coast and playing Seattle there. Everything was just adding up to a Minnesota loss. And it was great to see some fight from the Vikings. It really was. They looked like a team that didn't deserve to be where they were this year. But in the end, there were some questionable things. And honestly, my questionable thing might not be the same as others. But, it was nice to see Minnesota hang in there. But it would have been even nicer if they could have got it done.
I am not quite on the screw this whole team, we need to restart from scratch bandwagon yet, but I'm getting there. I know none of us predicted that we were going to go into Seattle and beat the Seahawks. We didn't do it last week. I don't think any of us did it when we did our schedule breakdown episode either, but you come down to these moments where coaching staff should learn from previous mistakes and things that they've done. And it just comes down again to questionable coaching calls. So that's never fun. But there was, like Smith said, there were some positives from this game, which we will get to. So we'll try to focus on that stuff.
Let's go right into it. We can do it a little different this week because I think we're going to talk about this game a lot today. There's a lot to cover. I'm giving my game ball to Eric Wilson. He was phenomenal last night. He did have, just like most everyone in the game, had a moment here or there that wasn't that good, but 6 total tackles, 7 by himself, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, a pass defended, and a quarterback hit. He's a damn good football player, and I am happy to give him my first, and I think the show's first, game ball.
I'll go to the offense. And I'll give mine to Adam Thielen. You got to give points to the guy you got to give the props to the guy who puts the points on the board. When you've got 2 touchdowns against that Seattle defense, that pass defense is not good in Seattle. And Adam Thielen was the only one that seemed to be getting open on a regular basis. 13 of the team's passes were thrown his direction. That's 13 out of 39 passes. So every time Kirk dropped back, 1 out of 3 times that ball was going to Adam Thielen. So
yeah, isn't Adam Thielen ranked number 1 on Pro Football Focus list of wide receivers right now?
I am actually not sure about that.
I believe he's ranked 1, and Justin Jefferson is ranked 3.
Huh.
Yeah, if it's adjusted from the last week, because after last week and the Justin Jefferson coming out party against Tennessee, it was Jefferson 1, Thielen 2. Now with these 2 touchdowns, yeah, I'm sure it's changed to that. Justin Jefferson still caught some balls last night, so I was very happy to see that. But I'm glad Adam picked him because that catch the football on the numbers and run backwards and then throw the football backwards across the goal, that's some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Kyle's wearing a Randy Moss shirt, and I'm like, that's still something I personally have never seen.
This is actually Cordero Patterson.
Oh, come on. There it is. That's funny. Yeah, I've never seen that before. And I was super impressed by him as well. But I wanted to go with Eric Wilson. He went with Adam Thielen. Kyle, who did you want to give your game ball to?
I'm going to be sarcastic. Are you guys ready?
Gosh.
I'm going to give it to Drew Samia for being absolutely awful but still earning himself a paycheck. The guy's terrible, but he's still getting paid by the Vikings. So there you go.
It's not a good sign when you're watching the broadcast. And you know how NBC has partnered with Collinsworth and
Right.
Pro Football Focus and everything. So they got the Pro Football Focus numbers. And Drew Samia, they list him and he's dead last at his position.
Yeah.
Pro Football Focus is like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be someone out there that can do better than dead last.
My game ball, actually, no. I was going to go with Eric Wilson, but Kyle Smith kind of took my answer on
you
that.
kind of gave that away in your chat
Yeah,
there
we were
around
chatting
Discord.
in the Discord chat, yep. He had himself a hell of a game. Eric Kendricks did as well, too.
Oh, yes. I've been trying not to give my game ball to Eric Kendricks every week because he could. You really could. He's just that good.
And even with the coming up short, which we're going to talk about here in a second, I could have easily given it to Alexander Madison for stepping up. Other than
True,
not converting. I mean, kid had 100 yards last night. He's a backup running back. I think he can start on some teams.
5.6 yards per carry for Madison.
The
on
team
20
as a whole,
carries,
too,
that's
as
crazy.
we're talking about rushing, 201 yards on the ground last night. Where's it at here as well? I'm on ESPN, but I'm only in the box score. Team stats. Let's look here at time of possession, too. The Vikings, which I thought this was funny that they mentioned this from week 1 going forward. They showed the time of possession and how it got larger every week. It's like weird, like you need a preseason or something. And 39 minutes and 28 seconds to 20 and 32, and they lost by 1 point. Total yards, 449 by Minnesota, 314 by Seattle.
I don't even know if Kyle Hinton
is
is still on the Vikings roster there, Skull Prod. But I gotta say that they have to do something to replace him. They have to.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to
Edward
talk about that
Cleveland.
right now because we're going to go to game balls and donkeys. We're going to talk about donkeys and give mine away.
Do we have to do this separately?
We all know it's going to be a collective thing. So, yeah, it's Drew Samia. He has no business being out there. No. Business. And
For variety's sake,
you
could go with Cam Dantzler. He gave up that big play right at the end of the game. That was like, well, that'll do it.
Otherwise, he had a pretty solid game, but yeah, he lost that ball in the air, and he just didn't know where it was coming down.
Right.
Well, that's the thing we can transition to. We all agree that we're going to give our donkey to Drew Samia. I really do hate picking on the dude, but he has no business being out there. Yeah, so let's talk about it. The pass rush showed up yesterday for the first time all season as a collective unit, which I am very happy to read these little stats out. The Vikings had 4 sacks yesterday, and they were all from 4 different guys. Eric Wilson, Fadio Danabo, Unique Ngakoue, and James Lynch got himself a sack yesterday.
I've been telling you guys, once James Lynch acclimates himself to the NFL, he's going to be good. I actually was telling you guys that before, if there was going to be a training camp and a preseason, that James Lynch had a chance of winning out that starting job because I thought he was going to be that good. So, yeah, keep an eye on him. He's going to keep making his way up.
I believe this was the first game he was active, right?
Yeah.
We got some James Lynch love in the chat. Yeah, very happy with him last night. I had to be quiet. I was hanging out at a friend's house and they were asleep. When I saw him get his sack last night, it has nothing to do with this, but I was like, who's the white guy who got a sack? I was like, is that James Lynch? Oh, it is. Oh, he's starting. Oh, he's playing. This is amazing. So the Vikings, once again, they know how to draft D linemen, and good for them. We have to focus here, though, on the offensive line. I am so irritated, and I'm not kidding you guys. I had a 2-hour drive back today from Austin, Texas, and I was in silence for over half of it, just talking out loud about this game and how pissed off I was last night. It's almost arrogant and ignorant to this point of how bad they just stick with their guns, and I don't understand why. They have to do something better about the interior line. Now, Garrett Bradbury's looking better and better as the weeks go on.
Yes, he has. He's improved quite a bit.
And I love that kid to death, but this guard situation has to be addressed. And let's be real. We can say it here. If Pat Elflein wasn't on the shelf, he'd be playing. And he's not that good either.
No, he's not.
So there are other options out there, and it's just the Vikings being stubborn is super frustrating. And I don't know if we point directly to Spielman or if we share the blame with him and Mike Zimmer, but they need to address the right guard situation in the worst way possible. Getting really irritated with that.
It's not like they don't have players who could fill in. Brett Jones has experience, and he's shown to not be a bad option in some situations. Rashad Hill has played guard in his career, and he's not bad at all. I think our bookend tackles have been doing a pretty good job this year.
Yeah. We also have that guy we drafted in the 3rd round. I'm pretty sure he can't be worse than Drew Samia.
Ezra Cleveland, you're right. He can't be. He can't possibly be any worse than Drew Samia.
That's right in. Yeah, he's not good. We're not going to poo-poo on him the whole show, but he shouldn't be starting. He could be a backup.
The announcers were calling him out, and then after they called him out, he was still getting penalties.
Yep.
And they would just start making fun of him. It got bad. It got ugly. It got really, really disappointing that was the best the Vikings can do. And they were right. Very few teams will make offensive lineman adjustments outside of injury during a game. But sometimes things got to happen. And wow, if someone's having that bad of a game, you got to do something.
Yeah, I know he was a tackle, but this is TJ Clemmings bad, and he just needs to – I don't mind if you keep him on the team for depth, but he shouldn't be your starter. There are other options, like you mentioned. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I
forgot about TJ Clemmings.
Hey, I got to bring up the reference tonight. That's good. We'll throw in Joe Webb and Ponder at some point in this episode, too.
Right. Tuesday night game.
In all intents and purposes, the Vikings rushed for 201 yards last night. And besides a really kind of a poor interception on Kirk's part, they held the ball right. He had a 60 QBR and a 92 rating. It's not anything to write home about, but he was serviceable. But that brings me back to my point with this team needing better interior linemen. This is not a quarterback like Russell Wilson where it's like, we got a minute and 45 seconds. Oh, we know you're going to go win the game. It's fine. Go do your thing. This guy needs literally all the help that he can get. And I hate to say it, but it doesn't matter how many skill players you have. If you can't protect him, he's not the guy you want to, put on the quarterback draw for 4th down like we did last night, which we can talk about.
I mean, you can make criticisms for Kirk Cousins, and the interception, do better. Just do better in general. Don't do that. It's also a hell of a play from Seattle on that one, too. Completely away from them. But also, the guy has no time. Yeah, absolutely no time to stand in the pocket.
That's why Adam Thielen's getting all these quick looks.
Yeah.
He knows he can throw the ball there.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk's 3 turnovers this game, that is very disappointing. You're going to have a lot of Kirk haters focusing on that and saying that's the reason. And yeah, it can very well be a reason because 2 of those turnovers put Seattle in very good position to score. The Vikings defense, I thought they did a shutout job in the first half, which was awesome. Then they came out and just everything started falling apart.
Yeah, that was the most frustrating part of the game. Minus, I really want to talk about these play calls too in a little bit, but the Vikings defense showed up, and we know that Seattle's defense isn't the Legion of Boom or anywhere near what it used to be, but they're still a sound football team. They are very well coached, and when you have a leader as good as Russell Wilson, he should have been an MVP at some point already. He may very well be one this year. You know that they're going to make adjustments, but for them to score 21 points in 6 minutes, less than 6 minutes, that was infuriating for the way the Vikings played. I think that they said there was a stat last night is it was either drives with a certain amount of minutes or whatever. They haven't done that since 2004. The Vikings on offense were rolling last night. And then the defense, which was crazy, was they were getting good pressures. Sometimes it was just the front four. Sometimes you send in a linebacker. Sometimes you send in a safety. I saw a lot of nickel last night, and I also saw a little bit when they played that the front four is just there doing their job. They had a lot of good coverage. And then when they sent people, I saw a lot of man-to-man, and for the most part, the corners held up. These young corners held up for the most part. But that lapse in the third quarter where they just come out and score and score and score, and then there's a turnover, that really sucked. I really hated that. And I'm really pissed off about let's give Kirk Cousins a draw play and have him run. Can we not have him run the ball? Can we have anyone else run the ball, please?
Skull Productions there says, I still don't agree with that last fumble call. And I've got to talk about that because I didn't know about the rule change. I didn't know that a play that when it's whistled dead can still be continued when it goes under review. So once that whistle blew, I thought the play was over. But then it went under review, and they were able to say that it was a turnover, and the recovery was after the whistle, but it still counts because it was a clear recovery. And that was a rule that was changed after, I believe, after the season before last. So yeah, all I'm going to say is that was something that I was not aware of that was changed.
These are rules that get made up just to fuck with the Vikings. Doesn't happen to any team other than us.
Yeah, I was on Twitter. I was furious. And then I had people coming in and saying, hey, that was a recent rule change that came through. And, I can't be expected to keep up with all these rule changes. I've been watching football for so long.
What's the positive of that rule change?
To give clear possession of the football to a team after a fumble.
Yeah, and if they're whistling it dead, but they're still going to be able to review it later, then I'm assuming there's a safety aspect there. So like a quarterback doesn't get annihilated or somebody jumping on the ball or, doesn't get killed. I don't know. I talked about it with my friend. Shout out to my friend Mike, who's a very nice and humble Seahawks fan. He's like, that was not an that call is messed up. I'm sorry, I'm getting flustered thinking about it.
And yes, the hand was moving forward without the football. So I absolutely see how it was ruled a fumble. But I did not think that the play would continue after the whistle. I thought whistle meant dead.
Correct. Because we wanted that to go. They only had 15 seconds to start at the 25, but you want to get that hope that Dan Bailey can come out and nail a 60-yarder in the rain, and you get the Vikings walk up and win, and that'd be cool. But
you at least want the opportunity for hey, they tried a Hail Mary pass. Oh, it didn't work, but hey, we tried it.
Correct.
When the game ends on such a down note of the Christian Ponder moment of you need a Hail Mary and you end up throwing the ball on the ground right in front. I mean, that's just a bunch of bullshit. That's not a fun way to end the game.
Mike Zimmer's getting a lot of criticism for going for it instead of kicking a field goal. Now, the coach's handbook in that situation does say to go for it. It says that if you go for that play, you have the highest percentage of winning the football game.
Correct.
Kicking the field goal would have gone against that. Yes, the margin of difference between the two ways of playing, it was very minimal. But again, this whole decision right there, that whole thing hinged on the fact that Minnesota decided to go for two earlier in the game when it didn't matter to go for two. And they ran a play that had a very small chance for success on that 2-point conversion. What's that?
That was a draw with Cousins running up the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fucking terrible play call. I'm just call it what it is.
The draw where he couldn't commit to running, where he looked like he didn't. Like, if you're going to run a quarterback draw, your quarterback has to actually run. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing on that play. That was dumb as shit.
Now, you guys all know that I'm conservative. I'm a conservative coach. Right. Even when I play Madden, in that situation, early in the game, I kick the field goal. I kick the extra point. I get going for 2 because it makes the score look close at that point, but you never know how the game's going to would have shaken out. If Minnesota would have had that 1 point back on the board and they're in that same position trying to decide what to do, they're going to kick that field goal because it's going to put them up 9.
That's what I said earlier in the show. Coaching decisions.
I am still team they should have kicked the field goal, and here's why. This is the most bare bones basic thing.
Because you got to force them to get the 2.
Even past that, think about this, guys. Let's break this down to the most generic casual football fan level. There are 3 quarterbacks in Kyle Smith, my opinion, that you don't give them the ball back with a chance to win unless let's say we kick the field goal, right? And then it's an 8-point game. At worst, they convert and score, and then it goes to overtime. And then your offense just chugs like it was before, much like the New Orleans game in the playoffs last year, right? You do not give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson to win the game. You don't do it. And that, to me, was piss poor, especially when the best player on your offense is over on the side with a groin injury. Now, I know, and I agree with Adam 100%. At that moment in the game, it feels right. The analytics say to do this. But in hindsight, when you break it down to the bare, most minimal form, you do not give Russell Wilson a chance to come back and win the game because you weren't up by enough points to at least make it a tie.
And if you do, don't make it so it's just a touchdown. Force them to do extra.
Exactly. I'm getting furious thinking about it again, and I don't think this is a fire Mike Zimmer moment. I don't know that this is a fire Rick Spielman moment, but this season is pretty much done. I don't know, looking at the schedule going forward, how this team digs out over a 500 record. I don't know. And you know what I would have been really cool with a loss for this yesterday? If the Vikings and the Seahawks were both undefeated, and that's the call you want to make because you're like, I'm laying it all out there and I trust my guys. And now you're 4-1. Cool, man. We'll deal with them in the playoffs. We'll probably meet each other again. But that was a season on the line already in week 5.
Well, let's talk for a second about that. Because right now, Minnesota's, of course, in a bad spot. But how are you guys going to feel about the Vikings season if they lose to the Falcons next week?
Oh, God.
Mike Zimmer will be on the hot seat to get fired.
Yeah.
I think that is a pivotal game for a lot of the coaches, many of the players. That game becomes the big one, not for the season, but for people's careers.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not on the fire Mike Zimmer bandwagon yet, but we lose to Atlanta. We're getting there.
And of course, this game is one that looks like Atlanta's going to be getting Julio Jones back.
Hey, and to your point, Kyle, look at what happened with Houston. They got a rejuvenation. They got rid of Bill O'Brien. They go out, they play their ass off, and they win a football game. Who's to say that couldn't happen Sunday? I wouldn't put it past Atlanta to be like, you know what, F it. We're just going to go out and just sling the ball and act crazy and just – we don't have anything to lose anyways, so why not? So this game is not a freebie for the Vikings.
No.
They absolutely have to win this game to stay alive in some maybe 10% chance they'll get in the playoffs. Probably less than that because coming up after that bye, it's an onslaught of division games.
I mean, I'm not even thinking playoffs. Like Jim
I'm
Mora.
just thinking some respect to be a respectable team.
Right.
You're thinking respect, and you're thinking like we want to look competent. We want to look like a competent coaching staff and team and organization. Yeah, it's very frustrating. What's also frustrating too, I was thinking about this, Smith and I were talking about this too, is that say we get rid of Mike Zimmer, he's going to immediately be picked up by another team to be their defensive coordinator.
At the very least.
And Mike Zimmer is a damn good defensive coordinator, even if at the moment the Vikings defense isn't the best. He's going to go to some other team and coach like a Super Bowl winning defense.
Well, who's got a chance right now that just beat us? Seattle. Yeah. That'd be the most Viking thing ever to happen.
Yeah.
Be the most Viking thing ever to happen. But
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm not on that train because I love this coach. I can't lie to you, man. The way that their strategy is, and they for whatever stupid, stubborn reason, they don't draft protection
Offensive
around.
linemen.
Yeah, they don't draft protection around as good as they nail, D linemen and some corners that work and some skill position guys. They just don't put enough time and effort and investment thus far into the offensive line as a whole. And it shows. I mean, Phillip Rivers having a damn good year, and he's almost 40. And that line, I bet you he will go around and buy them jet skis at the end of the year because they're keeping his old ass and his terrible throwing motion upright. And I feel bad for Cousins there because I don't want to poo-poo on him. But when you get paid all that money that he's – because it's almost $100 million guaranteed after the extension or whatever, it's going to be that much. You got to perform better. But I gotta empathize with him, man. He's pressured constantly by shitty guard play. And it's frustrating because then not only are we doing this is all basic stuff, all you guys in the comments know and you two know very well, but you're wasting good years and talent like guys with Stephon Diggs and Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. It's like this is the prime time to use these guys because they're not getting any younger, and it just snowballs, man. I'm super frustrated.
Here's a question for you guys. How much do you think in the back of Mike Zimmer's mind was him not trusting the field goal kicker? Not saying anything against Dan Bailey, but just what this franchise has been through, being snake bitten with field goal kickers missing in big moments. Do you think that factored into him not kicking that field goal?
I think he thought they were kicking their ass the entire
I just think he was going by the book.
Yeah.
Just the analytics side of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giving the team the best chance to win.
They were running the ball so well, and it was wasn't it 4th and inches or 4th and 1? Like, yeah, we'll get it. This is Madison, He gets
quarterback sneak. All you gotta do is fall forward.
Yeah.
CJ Ham up the middle.
And I kind of want to take a second to call out all the Vikings fans who all off season before the draft were calling to replace Riley Reif instead of looking at the problem the team actually had on the interior of the offensive line.
Riley Reif is the only offensive lineman that's good right now.
He's playing well.
Yeah. He's the
one that got a pay cut.
And then on the complete opposite side, Brian O'Neill's the second, and then Garrett Bradbury, he was getting thrown around last year. He's improving game to game.
Hey,
his guards, man. His guards are awful.
Real bad.
So, yeah, it was a 27-26 loss. Like I mentioned earlier, the Vikings had about 40 minutes of time possession. The defense was awesome. Because of pressure, the coverage did its thing. And that in traditional years of past, in the last 5 to 7 years in the Zimmer era, that's what would have happened. The pressure would have allowed the corners to play well, which is what happened yesterday. And look at that. Had they had a traditional preseason, this would have been game 1, and you wouldn't be as pissed about this. Like, man, this is going to be a damn good season. Look how well we played in Seattle. You know what I mean? But here we are going into week 6. So there's that. I've already went over Kirk Cousins. Alexander Madison, 20 carries for 112. Dalvin Cook, 17 for 65 and a score. Receiving, Adam Thielen, 13 targets, 9 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Which cat is that joining the show, Adam?
Oh, we got the Mew cat here.
Mew.
Also for receiving, this was mentioned in the chat earlier, the second leading receiver was Irv Smith Jr. with a nice game. 4 receptions of 64 and a long of 25. So good for you, dude. Welcome to the team. Sorry this year sucks.
I've been calling him out in some of my articles over on the Viking Age about disappearing. So I'm glad to see him getting involved.
He must have been reading your articles, Adam.
But when we're talking about the receiving, there's a couple in here that we've got to definitely discuss because the Vikings figured out how to run a screen.
Finally.
They did it. Hooray to them.
Proud of you guys.
Hooray for school.
Sorry, I'm messing around on my phone. Let's keep going here. The defense was good. 2 fumbles by Kirk Cousins. 1 was lost. Eric Kendricks, again, led the way. You cannot pay that guy enough money. Eric Wilson was right behind him in tackles. Then Cameron Tiny Dantzler. Anthony Harris.
What did you say?
Cameron Tiny Dantzler.
I like that a lot.
Anthony Harris was draped all over DK Metcalf for the winning touchdown, so I am not anywhere going to crap on him or Harrison.
No.
Because they were doing their best.
And the Vikings, I believe for the first time this year, got themselves a coverage sack.
Oh, that's right. Afadio Denebo had himself a nice day yesterday. 3 tackles, a sack, a tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hit. So he's coming around. You love to see it. Interceptions for Minnesota. Eric Wilson had 1 for a 7-yard return. Amir Abdullah was doing kick returns, 2 for 37. Chad Beebe had 2 punt returns for 7 yards. Dan Bailey, 2 for 2 on field goals and extra points as well. And Britton Colquitt is still the punter and only punted twice yesterday because, of course, they had a great game and lost. And
Did you see that in Las Vegas? The holder got hurt, and Daniel Carlson had to kick with another holder, and he missed.
Oh, God,
Poor Daniel
really?
Carlson.
Oh, God. He's probably got PTSD from his Viking days.
His list of people he trusts has to be so small.
Yeah, this was a heartbreaker. The Vikings looked really good in the first half. They were efficient enough to get shit out of the football to at least get in, score, keep the ball in Russell Wilson's hands. This is a very Bill Belichick coach game for the most part. Keep Russell Wilson on the field.
Part where we lost.
Yeah. Other than the fact that there's a big fat L at the end.
Yeah.
Defense looks like it's going to come around. We mentioned last week that with Danielle Hunter needing neck surgery for a herniated disc, he's probably not coming back for the season. So it's going to be the Yannick Ngakoue and Afadio Denebo show, which is the coolest 2 names of defensive ends in the NFL. I like the pressure they're getting. Maybe that'll start coming around. Maybe James Lynch will start playing more. That'd be really cool. But the Vikings are 1-4 now in the playoffs. If there is any chance, it is super duper slim coming around. So you keep that hope alive because there's an extra slot for a 17 this year, but it's looking pretty bad. Even
an epic collapse by the Packers. The Bears are in decent position too. So I don't know.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the schedule because it's crazy how this fastest season's rolling along. So Sunday at noon Central in Minnesota, the Falcons are coming to town. They're pretty bad as well, but would not count them out as we talked about earlier. Then they're after the bye week for week 7, they come back on November 1st in Green Bay, hosting the Lions, and then at the Bears. It's rough. There is a nice stretch from 3 home games for the Cowboys, the the Panthers, and the Jaguars, all in Minnesota, which those are winnable games.
Andy Dalton and the Dallas Cowboys.
The Red Rifle. Prayers to Dak Prescott, by the way. That injury was nasty yesterday.
That's
just
gross.
Nasty. And then you round out the quarter of the season against Tom Brady and more division opponents. Tom Brady and away at the Saints. So, this is like a 6-win football team. And that's if we're lucky. It's bad. It's really bad.
Tough.
There's gonna be a lot of more of the tank for Trevor stuff coming up. It's gonna be a rough year, but if the Vikings stay competitive, I think that Zimmer's gonna keep his job. I think we're married to Kirk Cousins, like we have mentioned, but I don't know, man.
I think the Wilf family is just too close right now with Spielman and Zimmer. I think that leash is pretty loose.
Mm-hmm.
I think with this being the COVID season, with how weird off season was and no training camp and everything, even though we can be frustrated with Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman, I don't think they are going to be going anywhere. You look at a couple of the other coaches who were just fired, and they have like a longer history of shit that led up to them getting fired, where you don't have that with Mike Zimmer in particular. I don't think they'll be going anywhere this year, but we'll see. You never know.
We did see a transaction happen earlier this week. The Vikings did end up bringing George Iloka up to the 53-man roster. and they let go of Eddie Yarbrough, which letting go of Eddie Yarbrough was interesting because they left a lot of younger, more inexperienced pass rushers on the team's roster in place of him. So maybe they just like what they're seeing from some of these young guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they like that enough to keep rolling with them.
I didn't know the answer to this question, so I just threw it up there. I'm sorry about that. Somebody asked it last week. Jerome, that might have been you that asked about Kenny Willicks last week. Believe we looked it up in some part in September. I read some news about him being out, but it's mid-October. I'm not too sure about it going forward. Let's look at the Atlanta Falcons right now. Talk about that a little bit. Yeah, Julio Jones was definitely out yesterday. Teddy Bridgewater and the Carolina Panthers did beat the Atlanta Falcons yesterday.
Good for Teddy.
Yeah, shout out to Teddy Bridgewater. Miss you, brother. Miss you. Yeah, I don't know if they've maybe won one game, or they have no wins. No, they have no wins. So yes, this is a winless football team. Yeah, this is a must-win for the Vikings going forward.
Smith getting called out in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah. I want to be optimistic, but I said this today on my drive too, and I'll put it back up there, Cliff. You can call me out because I kind of have. I'm still gonna watch. I said it today like 3 or 4 times driving. Like I said, I had a 2.5 hour drive today. I'm not quitting the football team. I'm not giving up on the podcast. I will park my happy ass right in front of a TV at noon Sunday because I love this team too much. But they infuriate the ever-loving shit out of me, and it just proved me wrong. Those are the 3 words that I kept saying over and over again. If this isn't a mediocre franchise and a football team, prove me wrong.
Oh, there have been seasons where I've absolutely hated this football team. And guess what? We still watch on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, the
yeah, absolutely.
I was in San Antonio. I was 3-13 Ponder season, so you can't sway me. I've been to the bottom of the barrel. It's just
and this somehow still isn't as bad as that 3-13 season.
Exactly where I was going. This team is too damn talented that they'll keep things interesting and it won't be blowouts. It's a dagger for games like yesterday and then 2 weeks ago against the Titans where it comes down to the final drive and then you come up short, you know? And just it feels like the Vikings MO, and I'm pro player all the way. I'm not going to be pro management ever, and I'm the same way. Never.
Gee, I wonder why.
Can't be, man. You can't be pro management. No. You got to be think about. I'm not saying that these players have given up because they played their ass off. I feel bad for them, honestly, but no, I haven't given up on the season already. I'm just trying to keep it realistic. I wanted to see them go to the postseason and build from last year, but it looks like it's going to be history repeating itself in one of those after we go to the postseason, the next year we don't kind of years.
No.
But it's also COVID-19 in 2020, and who knows what the hell will happen.
Yeah.
They will live to play another day, and they have a sort of inferior opponent coming up, so maybe we'll get the feel-goods this Sunday. We shall see.
Or Julio Jones is going to run all over this defense.
Julio Jones will have another 240-yard receiving game.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. That's a lot.
He's had them. He seems to have at least one every season.
Yeah.
And no offense to our Vikings corners, but they don't have a lot of size.
Yeah, they're going to have a tough time.
So yeah, it's gonna be a challenge. Let's talk about the Survival League for a second, huh? We saw a lot of success in the Survival League. A lot of right picks. There are 20 people left in the league. There is one person that's going to get a strike for taking the New England Patriots, which, that happens. Sometimes you just forget to update it after a game changes because the Patriots, I believe, don't have a game this week. So they will get a strike there. I took the Saints tonight because I believe the Saints are going to walk all over them, even without who people are calling Slanty Boy right now, or Slant Boy. I think it's Slant Boy. And then three people didn't make picks. What? I didn't even think of it that way.
No,
Dang it, West.
He's just messing with you.
Dang it, West. Now I'm going to be thinking of it that way, though.
Now,
But
he's
we
not
do have
waiting
two
where he's
people in the league. Short Round and Zim Reapers are both going to be eliminated for not making picks this week, which
Oh no.
you just get a shake of the head, wag of the finger. So you'll be down to 18 in the league. And I'll still be in there. I might get my first strike if the Saints can't get it done. But you guys better watch out because I'm not folding this year. I'm in this to win this.
Did you get eliminated already?
Thanks, man. Yes, I did.
Good job.
I had a week where I didn't pick, so you guys, I will advocate and piggyback off of what Adam Carlson said. You should definitely make sure to make your picks. Set a reminder in your calendar. We're all on our phones every day. And then I made two terrible choices, and I don't know why.
You were trying to save the easy picks for later.
I was.
It happens to all of us. That's one of the things about survival leagues.
I picked
if you try to save it,
and I regret the hell out of that. And then there was a total upset. I don't even remember the last one, but that was it. And my season was over by week 3.
You're more than a Thielen, right?
I am.
Yeah, you had the one that got you eliminated was picking the Chargers.
It's rough. It's a tough world out there. You guys have to be better at this, though, because Adam Carlson has told you numerous times he's not going to throw it and be nice this year. It's going to be tough to beat. And, if you need reminding, we collectively come together, all three of us here at the Purple People Podcast, and we put together a little swag bag, a little nice thing of gifts for kind of like a fantasy football championship, but this would be the Survival League. And it's free. It's all on us, but you have to earn it this year.
So very true.
Wow. Is this going to be a short show, guys?
Well, let's do like we have been doing at the end of other shows. And let's go around and talk about and give our predictions for the game against the Falcons.
Okay.
Now, I don't see a way the Vikings can lose this game. It's going to be tougher than a lot of people think. It's going to be. But this is going to be a win. And this has to be a statement win. Not for the team's record, not for their playoff chances, but for the egos of these players who have just been taking hit after hit after hit. And they see what people write on the internet. They hear what the sports people are saying about them. They know. They know.
I'm going to do what Skull Prod's going. I'm going to say the Vikings are going to win. I'll give them 31-21. We were talking about this before the show. It's a good little segue or kind of a little note on the side. Dalvin Cook had a groin injury last night, and there was an MRI. This is via Chris Thomason. You can go check out his Twitter because he talked about it. Mike Zimmer said, everything looks cool. We'll see how he does this week, which translates to he will not play Sunday. We have a bye week the following week, and he will be back against the Green Bay Packers in week 8. So you're going to get more of Alexander Madison and Mike Boone this Sunday, which I'm totally okay with. If the Vikings stick to the game plan that they had yesterday, which was get pressure with 4, rush every now and again very well, and let the coverage do their job, and please take out Julio Jones. Just make him a non-factor. They're going to run the shit out of the football Sunday. They're going to win. So I think that's what will happen.
It's a very pivotal football game coming up for this team. I don't think any of us are thinking playoffs, but we're definitely – this is an important one for what the remainder of the season is going to be like. We're going to find out whether or not this team believes in Mike Zimmer. This game, I think. If we get in a situation where we're down, do the players play? I think so. I think they will. I think that they will continue to fight for Mike Zimmer. There's that off chance that this team could just quit at the half. I really don't think that's going to happen, but watch for it. You never know.
That's true. Hopefully not. That would be very infuriating to watch and get beat by a winless team.
So you're saying loss then, West?
No, I think they're going to pull out the win. I'm just saying that's in the back of my mind. That's like that could happen.
Don't rule anything out. Well,
yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
I like that we're all wearing T-shirts of our favorite sports teams. You've got your Minnesota Vikings. You've got your Minnesota Vikings. And I've got the Bayside Tigers.
Nice. Yeah, I had to rock my Bud Grant shirt today. I was gonna wear my Justin Jefferson one like Mr. West has, but I did laundry and it's folded up somewhere.
You fold your laundry?
Well, what you guys don't see in this hotel room that looks really clean is there's a ton of crap on this bed that I pushed out of the picture that goes right back here on this couch once it's over with.
Nice.
I'm not domesticated anymore. Sorry.
Yes, goal product. The Vikings have had good chances against Julio, but the guy they've matched up against him to do it is gone. So this could be interesting.
I'd like to see a lot of what they were doing yesterday. I know I'm not the biggest.
They were keeping those safeties over the top, and it was working good. I hate to say that keeping 2 in the cover 2 is good, but
Tampa 2.
Well,
Leslie Frazier, Tampa 2.
Well, lovely Brett Favre taught me what nickel coverage was because he was like, "Oh, that's it, right?" But you saw it when they named out the starters for the first drive. You only saw 2 linebackers.
Yep.
Which means you got 5 defensive backs, and I'm like, well, I guess that works. Of course, Mike Hughes was back, which helped out a lot yesterday. He had a damn good play and a break.
Yeah, he played well.
But yeah, I think that safety helped, and probably Mike Hughes on Julio Jones, which is fucking scary to say out loud, but that's probably what it's going to be. Hey,
Can we give a little bit of a mini shout out to Eric Wilson for not only playing all those snaps on defense, but also being a key contributor on special teams?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
I mean, I know that they tagged him with their transition tag to keep him in Minnesota this year, and they are trying to squeeze every dime they can out of him.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You, get out of here.
I don't know why Harrison Smith on 4th and 10 went up like he was blitzing and then dropped back. Wilson at Metcalf in time. Yeah, there was also a little bit of and I talked to my brother about this today. There was a little bit of hesitation on that last play. I don't know if somebody was like worried about getting a penalty called or whatever. Whoever was blitzing or trying to rush Russell Wilson, which usually doesn't work, but they did a pretty good job yesterday. I don't know. The Vikings should have won that game last night. There's no way around it. This is what probably the most obvious one in recent memory where it's like, no, they definitely should have won that game. But it is what it is. Russell Wilson's the hero once again, and the Seahawks are undefeated somehow.
Yep,
But hey,
that was going to happen.
We saw standings yesterday. The Rams are on fire. They're 4-1. And the San Francisco 49ers were in the Super Bowl last year, and they're at the bottom of their division now. Anything's possible.
And Jimmy G. He got benched.
Yeah, now's the time, you guys. If you guys want to get on that super hype train of trading Kirk Cousins, now's the time to do it and get on and start calling San Francisco. You know there's a love affair, Kyle Shanahan and Kirk Cousins. Now's the time to get rid of him. Let's go. If you guys want to start that rumor mill up, you go right ahead.
We're just going to trade quarterbacks, just flat out. Just you take Cousins, we'll take Jimmy G.
No.
Isn't Jimmy G's contract worse than Kirk's?
No, we don't have to.
I honestly don't know.
Trade quarterback. We can get someone else, or maybe a terrible pick, and then we just go in and get Trevor next year. You guys aren't
give us CJ Beathard or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Nick
we already
Mullen.
have one Iowa quarterback. We don't need 2.
All right, we'll start doing some shout outs here. Get you guys some promotions.
Maybe we can get another 7th round draft pick with Cousins. Dual 7th round picks.
He loves them. Yeah, if you want to support me, it'd be great if you could go on over to the Viking Age. You can check out my work over there. I typically do the best and worst from each week, along with the MVPs, the power rankings, and honestly, it's just nice to be able to share my opinion on Vikings football with other fans while expressing myself. It's nice. It's fun. And I do the same thing when it comes to zombies over on undeadwalking.com, where I cover The Walking Dead. And yes, the season 10 finale, I'll air quote finale because there's 6 more episodes coming in season 10, but they aren't connected to the main storyline. So we'll call that the finale. That has happened, so there isn't going to be any new episodes of The Walking Dead anytime soon. But a show that I've kind of been open on a little bit is Fear the Walking Dead, because I haven't been really enjoying it the last couple seasons, but the season 6 premiere, I liked it a lot. So maybe there's a chance that I could come back around to it. Fingers crossed. Meanwhile, World Beyond, it's a different zombie show, and it's 2 episodes in, but I think I see where it's going, and I think I'm going to like the journey. So all in all, there's some reassuring stuff there. Plus, the Walking Dead Deluxe comic book is out, and hopefully we'll have some pretty cool content from that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to pick up those colorized Walking Dead comic books. I think those are pretty cool.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about that is in the back of those books, where they used to have the right into the team section and ask them questions. Yeah. Now they've got the cutting room floor, which they have where they had some of the originally pitched ideas that ended up getting scrapped. They're going to talk about those instead.
Yeah, that's the perfect place for it. I think if you've wanted to get into the Walking Dead comic books and you haven't done so, perfect opportunity to jump on board. And
especially if you love the colorized version. Otherwise, the compendiums are pretty cheap right now, especially if you go to like a secondhand source. You can pick up the full compendiums, and there's only 4 of those. So, yeah, you could probably get the whole collection for under $100 easy.
I should pick those up sometime, too.
Definitely worth it. And over on Twitch, I do stuff once in a while. And maybe Mr. West will be doing stuff soon, too. You never know.
Maybe. I was thinking about it. I don't know if my internet's good enough to, like...
My internet's butt. What's your upload speed?
I don't know. Let me check. Looks like I got my stuff up here on the screen now, too. So you can check my artwork out using the link below. Down here, we got Purple People Podcast merchandise. As well as a whole host of other photography work that I do. Please check it out. And anytime you want to share it on the social media, that would also be beneficial as well, too.
I will vouch for Kyle West's stuff. I also vouch for Adam Carlson's stuff because they're very talented people. I will vouch for Kyle West's stuff, and I'll guarantee you that next week, because I just remembered now after the store has closed, I have 2 Purple People Podcast shirts that I purchased. I was wearing one all weekend, but it is now dirty. I'll be rocking the long sleeve after the Atlanta game coming up.
Yeah.
And I'll let you guys see it in person, because if you guys would beat Adam Carlson in the Survival League, I'll buy you one of those shirts, just like we bought last year. But, yeah, this is really cool stuff. He's a talented photographer. If you don't need Purple People Podcast merch, he has other stuff that you can get on practically anything, shirts, mugs, phone cases, whatever the case may be. But that should do it, man. You guys are awesome for tuning in. Shout out Thomas Buse getting in at the very end of the show. My bad.
Hey, glad you could make it, though, even if it's just for a little bit.
Thank you, Cliff, for calling me out and talking me off the ledge. Michael Cambria, Skull Prod, thank you guys so much. Viking Jerome. We'll be back next week, hopefully on a more positive note. Don't jump off the bridge just yet. We'll just have to call the season what it is. We'll get through it game by game, but that's all I've got.
We'll be in Atlanta, and then we're Super Bowl bound.
Pretty much.
Or maybe just the Pro Bowl for some guys. You never know.
Well,
on that note,
you think they'll have the Pro Bowl this year?
It's probably not a game, but they'll probably give out the
COVID Bowl.
They'll probably name a team and not play it. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Guess
what? Good. We got some cats fighting.
The Cleveland Browns are 4-1.
There we go. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thanks for everyone who visits us on our social media, hangs out with us, joins us on Discord and everything. It means a lot that you guys take time to hang out with us and just be football fans together. We really appreciate that. So everyone, stay classy, Minnesota.